The Woburn School Committee for November 10th, 2021. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good evening, everybody. This is a public meeting conducted by the Woburn School Committee. This meeting will be recorded. If you are here to make public comment or say anything, you are also consented to being recorded. I think that's it. Yeah. So if the superintendent could please call the roll.
Ms. Chisholm.
Here.
Ms. Cormier.
Present.
Mr. Lipset. Here. Mr. Kissel.
Here.
Mr. Mulrennan.
Present.
Dr. Wells.
Here.
Ms. Crowley.
Present. Okay, we're all here and accounted for. I see we have approval of minutes of 10:25:21. Any action?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. Public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come forth in front of the school committee and be heard? Yes. Hi. Come on down, please. Someone has raised their hand. They'll make their way to the table. Again, the school committee honors public comment as an important part of our public policy, but we do have a limit of 3 minutes.
Okay,
So you can come sit down at that table, make yourself comfortable.
thank you. So I don't particularly know if this is the subject of the night, but this is a subject that's been bothering me since the pandemic started.
That's awesome. Could you just state your name for the record and then,
My name is Heidi Richards.
fantastic.
I have to catch my breath because I always get flustered.
No problem. Take your time.
But, so, when I heard the mask mandate was put back into place at the beginning of the school year, I was still and disturbed by this burden imposed upon our children. I have been at the State House, school board meeting after school board meeting, at Desi and Malden, on the news, protesting masks on children. I want and wanted my child to have full access to learning. I decided it was best to keep my child home, safe with me. I was not intending on sending him to school. It was not until my husband and I had many disagreements whether or not he should be in school. We both agreed children should not be wearing masks, but needed to be in school learning with kids and socializing. So I sent my son to school even though it turns my stomach every day I send him. I can take my child anywhere without a mask. Indoor playgrounds, movie theaters, birthday parties, stores, etc. It wasn't until last Tuesday when my frustration came back full force. I went to vote. And I went in, and with the exception of 2 people running the bake sale, not one other person in the building was wearing a mask. And when I asked the lady that was running the polls why no one was wearing one, she stated that nobody mandated it for them. So my question to you is, why does my child have to sit in school for 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, behind a mask? The hypocrisy is real. This is political theater. My son was out of school for 1 week already with an upper respiratory infection. I am convinced from wearing a mask. They are a health hazard, and they are weakening our children's immune system. These years are the most crucial in their education. They need to see expressions and read teachers' lips when he or she enunciates her words. These masks are teaching our children that everyone is sick and they must live in fear of even their own classmates. They are dehumanizing and affecting their mental health. When my son was in preschool, before the pandemic, he was talking and really opening up. Then came the masks. And since then, my son has regressed. I would like to read directly a statement from his IEP. It says here that Aiden was found to have significant concern noted in the area of withdrawal. He refuses to talk, he has trouble making new friends, and isolates himself from others, and functional communication. He does not verbally respond to peers or adults in school, which is impacting his ability to form relationships. In closing, my last question is, what will happen on January 15th? A mandate is not a law. That's all.
Thank you very much, Ms. Richards.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to come before the school committee? Hello, good evening.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Wayne Altman, family physician in Arlington, teacher at Tufts Medical School, chair of the Department of Family Medicine, and a parent here in Woburn. And I wanted to come to give an update to the school committee on our team's work related to the issue that was just being discussed by the previous woman who was testifying. And, you know, as we approach the winter and the pandemic kind of smolders on, doing better, but no actual end in sight, all of us are prone to frustration and some people despondence. It's really been hard for a lot of people. I think you all know that. And for those who question the utility of wearing masks, this frustration is further heightened, especially when it comes to children in school. And I'm very much in favor of children wearing masks, and I'm not suggesting otherwise, but we do know that children are less likely to get very sick with COVID, and we know that they're less likely to transmit COVID. And we also, I think all of us wonder about the quality of education with masks versus not masks. I think that is something that weighs on all of us. And at the same time, the most potent tool we have to end the pandemic and to prevent the continued evolution of the COVID virus into more potent strains is vaccination. And motivating those who are vaccine hesitant has proven to be quite challenging. So we believe that the extremely enticing carrot of allowing children to unmask at schools would motivate vaccination. We also have very good science that suggests a herd immunity in a school of over 80% vaccinated makes it safe for all of the kids to unmask. So the psychology is clear. We need a light at the end of the tunnel, or in this case, a smile at the end of the tunnel. And we have assembled a very talented team of leaders of infectious disease, folks who are advising the governor's office, family medicine, pediatrics, education, and one of the most revered marketing firms in the country who are willing to team up and put together a toolkit to help school districts engage in a process that would help kids safely remove their masks if that herd immunity has been reached. And, you know, the previous person who testified, I think she represents a lot of people who feel that way, and it's certainly a valid opinion. I don't agree with everything she said, but I respect her opinion. And I think a very reasonable compromise is to do what DESE has allowed. And if we reach that 80% threshold of vaccination in any school community, including teachers, staff, and students, and I believe we're in the low 70s at the high school right now, and now that younger kids can get vaccinated, every school in the district could reach that 80%, has the potential to reach that 80%. Our team is willing.
I'm just going to give you a couple more seconds, and I want you to have to speak longer than the previous speaker.
You bet.
Keep it equal.
I'll wrap up.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Our team is willing and ready to assemble this toolkit and to engage a research team to look at the results of this intervention, not just for Woburn, but for every school district in the state of Massachusetts. So my ask here for this committee is to vote to use this toolkit, and when we're ready, announce that any school in Woburn Public Schools that exceeds the 80% threshold can safely unmask, and to use that carrot to move the needle on vaccination and to move us forward.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to come before the school committee? Good evening and hello.
Hello. My name is Kathleen Donovan. I know some of you and some of you I don't. I am not here for the mask mandate. I'm here for a totally new program that I would like to bring into the school. At the beginning of the pandemic, somebody had made a post on Facebook asking if it was okay to let their kids know the Easter Bunny was quarantined, and I said no. And I opened up a program that I have volunteers from all over Massachusetts, all over Woburn, pretty far reach of people that are sponsoring kids in the city. I expanded that program through Thanksgiving. We gave out 130 meals, complete turkey dinners. The following Christmas, last Christmas, I delivered Christmas to 157 children. And this year, so far on my list, I have 98. There's still more going to be posted. There's more people waiting to sponsor. But 37 of these came from the Shamrock. And some of these kids didn't even have a coat. And I was able to deliver coats to these kids this past week. And what I would really like to see happen is to find a way to bring this program further into the schools and be able to reach all of the elementary schools and the kids that are desperately needing just a simple coat, to be able to sponsor them and bring them a coat, Christmas, whatever they need, food. I run a food pantry on Saturday mornings from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at the Anchor Baptist Church. Anybody is welcome. You don't have to belong to the church. But I really would like to try to find a way. It's called Christmas in Wooville. It's on Facebook. But I would really like to try to find a way to bring it into the schools, maybe have some of the older kids volunteer to wrap presents and things like that, the younger kids, anybody that needs. You know, I've really been able to reach a lot of families in the past 2 years that just have basic needs that are not being met. And I would like to try to get the program into the school to be able to expand, you know, and see. I have a lot of sponsors waiting. Everybody fights over them. As soon as I post, within 2 seconds, somebody goes, oh, I missed another one. You know, so there are people all over the city that are waiting to sponsor a child, and I call them my elves. They're my honorary elves, and I work on behalf of Santa. And you know, but it's not just Christmas. It's anybody who's in need can reach out. But I really would like to find a way to bring it into the school system. So I don't know if anybody has any ideas or questions.
Well, we certainly appreciate you coming tonight. Because you're speaking to us during public comment, we actually can't respond.
No, I understand.
However, I will say that we certainly honor and respect the work that you're doing, and sounds fantastic. So maybe you could leave your contact information with Ms. McLeod, and
Absolutely.
we can reach out to you and see how we can help, or just do whatever we can to support this
I
mission.
know Donna Gillen at the Shamrock said, see if they'll give you a room, because she doesn't have, you know, so hopefully we can figure something out where we can work together and bring the program to everybody in the city.
Well, I appreciate you coming, Ms. Donovan.
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you, Joey.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm still waiting on my side of the hoops.
I have that. I'll text you when I get
Thank
home.
you. Thank you.
Okay, so that means Kathleen Donovan. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to come and give public comment to the school committee? Okay, seeing none. Members, I would appreciate it if we could move.
Student rep. Student rep.
Sorry. Thank you. Don't tell them that I always. We're going to hear from our student representatives, Ms. Frondudo, Ms. Faith Frondudo, and Sophia Fershi, and they'll be presenting remotely. Of course, they're ready.
Hi, good evening. How are you?
Good, how are you? So for today's meeting, we have Ms. Sophia with us. She's the junior rep, along with me.
Welcome.
So if Sophia would like to introduce herself whenever you guys are ready, and then I'll give my presentation.
I'm Sophia, I'm a junior, and I'm on the volleyball team. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Ellen Crowley. I'm chair of the school committee, so I just wanted to say hi, so you see me running the meeting. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Skedaddle back over here.
I think, Faith, are you providing them the update tonight?
I am, yes.
Okay. Sophia, just to kind of give you context, there's 7 members of the school committee. Ms. Crowley is the chair. Ordinarily, you'd be in the room with us and give a presentation of happenings at the high school. So you're going to learn from the best momentarily. Faith has been doing this for 2 years and does an amazing job. And so we're looking forward to having you as part of this group, Sophia. And Faith, I'll turn it over to you for the update.
All right, sounds good. So in terms of upcoming events happening at the high school, MCAS retakes and seniors are working on the Adams Scholarship, which will be taking place this week and next week. Veterans Day is tomorrow, so there'll be no school. In terms of athletics, the Lady Tanner volleyball team moved to the second round of the tournament on Tuesday with an away game. The boys soccer team lost a tough game on Saturday to Canton, and football to Catholic Memorial. Swimming and cross country individual athletes competed in the postseason play. So for swimming, we have Olivia Harkins, Tyat Manna, Abby O'Brien, Caroline O'Brien, Sarah Herburst, and Alice Rogovitz. And for boys and girls cross country, we have Olivia Poole, Nubia Pereira, Cora Soderquist, Grace Batista, Eliza Cordup, Maddie Dillon, Lily Power, and Miriam Alessandroni. And for the boys team, we have Kevin Nett, Joe Mahan, James Carrier, Jonathan Capone, Dan Ianen, Jared Simpson, Michael Curran, and Ishmael Guerrero. Last but not least, the cheerleading team finished second in their division in their Officer Regionals on November 14th at Billerica High School. Congratulations to these athletes, as well as those previously mentioned, for moving forward in the fall tournament. It is a wonderful thing to see that our students are able to compete again. So for the time spanning of 11:15 through 11:24, it will be Spirit Week at the high school, leading up to the Pep Rally, which will take place on 11/24 at 11 a.m. It's planning to be outside in the stadium if the weather allows, and with that, outside guests will be welcome in the stands. Announcements for this will be made the morning of the location, and if it is inside, there will be no guests allowed. On Friday, November 19th, the Key Club will once again be sponsoring a blood drive through the American Red Cross. This is great news that we are once again able to host the drive at the high school in the lower gymnasium. As it would be much appreciated if you're willing to take time out of your busy schedules to donate. And lastly, Term 1 is closing on November 15th, and report cards will be posted to student portals on November 22nd. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Faith. So, Sophia, that's the role. I told you. And Sophia, I'm just teaching as we go. Often now, we ask if school committee members have questions for Faith.
Okay. Yes, does anybody have any questions for Ms. Frondudo on her presentation? Yes, Mr. Mulrennan has a
Thank you, Madam
question.
Chair. Good evening, Faith. How are you doing tonight?
Good, how are you?
All right, I just have a question. You guys were supposed to have a science meet yesterday. Was that virtual, online, or how come I missed it? Where were you guys hiding?
Yes, so we had 2 dates for our competition. Yesterday, 2 of the events competed, and today, 1 of the events competed. And it's virtual against other schools. We kind of break off and do our competitions and report back the results. It's not in person yet, but hopefully at the turn of next year, it'll be in person.
All right, great. And Sophia, I understand you also, did you just get another acknowledgement from volleyball or from the team besides winning last night? You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, we won last night. It was a close game. And then I also got nominated like All-State on the All-State team. So that was fun yesterday.
Nice.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
Okay.
Congratulations, ladies. Good luck with King Philip.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mulrennan. Dr. Wells?
Yeah, no, I'm going to follow up on Mr. Mulrennan. So, Faith, what's your strength in the science team? Biology, physics, engineering, problem solving? What's your go-to subject?
Well, I really do like the physics part of it and the biology, because I've taken both of them. But there's so many good students that do like the engineering part, and they build some stuff. So it's really fun.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you happy with that answer?
I am happy with that. You mentioned biology.
Is that a wrong answer, Mr. Wells?
He's a
Is that wrong
scientist.
answer when it comes to science?
Yeah.
All right, any more questions for the student representatives? Nope, not see, okay. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Thank
you for having us.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Hi, ladies.
Great
Good night.
job, as always. Okay, so if we could move, if I could had a motion to move 6 out of order and hear from the Special Education Parent Advisory Committee.
So move, Madam Chair, make a motion, we move 6 to make it 1.
Second?
And the
any-
superintendent's reports.
Any discussion on that?
First topic.
All in favor? Okay, so could I see Ms. Cotton and Ms. Milto?
It's up at the top.
And look, we have your presentation ready for you, right here. Thank you all for moving us forward.
Thanks for putting us at number 1. Feels good.
Hey, huh?
All right, so we just want to give, first of all, this will be really quick this time, just for people who are watching who don't know what CPAC is, really quick overview of that, and then we're just going to update you since we were here a month ago or a few weeks ago. So CPAC is a group of volunteer parents, and we are in the district. Anyone is welcome to join, and really what we're trying to do is make Woburn schools and the community a better place for students with disabilities. So there are many ways we do that. One of the ways we do that is to come here and sort of update you. All right, so we've been very busy over the last few weeks. We've been going to PTO meetings. We're trying to figure out if we can we want to have liaisons to each PTO group. So we've been visiting them just to let everybody know about us. So we have a schedule of those. And then we went to the EL PAC meeting, I think that was just last week. And so we told them about what we're doing and invited people, and we'll continue to check in with them. We've been in touch with Adriana to try and figure out who there might need some help. And Mike has offered to have translators so we can make sure we're able to reach anybody we can.
So in the spirit of trying to get more information to people, we're going to be making up a flyer that can go out to families. We're sort of working out the details of that. And you had sent something to Renee earlier that has been translated, correct?
Right. So-
For LPAC families,
Yes,
LPAC families
nice.
or any families that may speak other languages. So that's one of the ways we're trying to kind of outreach more directly to people. And to have an invitation be sent to out-of-district parents as well. We're kind of working out the details of the best way to do that. But that's just some of the outreach stuff we're doing.
So I just want to add on to that.
Sure.
So our hope is to have a meeting in a few weeks of just out-of-district parents, something really informal, just because a lot of them themselves, they feel they are out of touch with what's going on in the district. So we're hoping we can get their voice in there and have just a one-off for them, or maybe if they want more than that. And so the school has been great about sending that out. I think I sent it yesterday, and Renee sent it immediately.
So we've been talking about some safety, well-being issues, which of course is pervasive across many districts right now with COVID and with sort of the disruption to students. So everyone's trying to get that under control. But so we had some questions about different staffing levels for paras, if they have different types of training, if there's like a level 1 and level 2 category for them, or if that could become something to sort of accurately represent paras who are maybe working with students who have a high level of need and paras who maybe are doing other types of work to support other students. And we're asking about when students are hospitalized. We know that at the high school level there's the BRIGHT program. Sorry, I just realized I have it back to you. I apologize. We know about the BRIGHT program. We're wondering, for students who are younger, who wouldn't have access to that high school level program, is there anything in place that could help students who are hospitalized and then coming back in, maybe in the elementary or middle school level, just because there seems to be such a high level of need right now that there could be certainly a need for that.
Definitely got the best seat.
Sorry.
That was fine. And I think the other thing we were wondering about is we've heard about some teachers who are leaving. Just what does that do to our numbers, staying in compliance with people being certified, and just the programs in general? Just wondering what that does for not only staff but students as far as safety and well-being.
And our next meeting coming up next Wednesday, the 17th at 6:30 p.m. It is my mom's birthday, and I'll be missing it to be at our meeting. So I hope that people will come to our meeting, make it worthwhile. But it'll be a good one. We're going to have a meeting with Maureen Ryan, our SPED director, and Renee Morgan, who's out of district coordinator. I think that's the correct title. They're going to be coming in at 6 o'clock and doing an update for us. And then at 6:30 until 8 o'clock, we're going to have the Federation for Children with Special Needs. I believe it is Lynn. I don't remember her last name, but her name is Lynn, and I think she's done a presentation before, and she was great. And she's going to do a presentation on evaluations and eligibility, which is one of the ones that they offer that we try to do every so often. That's a really informative presentation. I definitely recommend if anybody has questions, they can pop in, they can hang out, just listen in. I think that would be really, really good for families. So hopefully we'll get some people coming out for that. So, yep, and as always, our contact information is up here, and people can reach out to us at any time with questions, and we will try to help them out.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions from the committee? I'm sorry, yes.
Sorry, just one quick clarification on
Andrew.
time. It says that the next meeting is November 17th at 6:30, and then you have 6 o'clock for Ms. Ryan and Ms. Morgan. I just wanted to make sure, does the meeting actually start at 6? Or
The meeting
or is
starts
that-
at 6. From 6 to 6:30, Ms. Ryan and Ms. Morgan are going to talk.
Oh.
And then at 6:30, we have the presenter.
I just wanted to clarify
Yeah,
for
thank you.
Thank you
the
for
audience and for
pointing
us
that out, yeah.
in terms of whether or not everyone could attend that part. Thank you.
We do
Thank you,
typically
Ms.
start at 6:30, and this one we pushed back a bit so that we'd have time to have our initial presentation before the Federation presentation, because those do run long.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Mulrennan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ladies, I know you're here before us, and you've been busy since then. You're looking for a secretary, I believe, to join the board, or you're still looking?
Sure, we
Now's your
absolutely
pitch.
are still
You get a little
looking. Thank
pitch
you for
again if you
bringing that
want
up.
to.
Yes, we would love a fourth person. It would definitely increase our capacity. It's an easy job. Minimum, you just have to go to meetings and type up what we're saying. But you could, people can always become more involved if they'd like to.
And you get to spend more time with us, which is a bonus.
Yes. And Ms. Cormier.
Yes, thank you. Not so much a question for you guys, but just kind of to piggyback off of what you mentioned about the Bright program for high school. I do agree that younger students could benefit from something like the Bright program. I know with the youth that I work with who have been incarcerated, there's obviously a lot of transition to come back, and we have had youth we can have from 12 and up, so middle schoolers, not only for the mental health piece, but also for reintegration into the learning. So I also support that. I think that's a great idea, if we can get that at least into the middle schools, and then continue. Thank you.
Thank you. And Dr. Wells.
Yeah, I wonder if the administration could work maybe through Ms. Comey's subcommittee, because they had a series of questions and concerns, and maybe work to answer those, because I thought they were legitimate concerns. And then they can work through the subcommittee, and then we can get a report back too.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
Wells.
we can definitely, because we go to SSA meetings,
Right,
so
so
we can bring these again to that to reiterate, and we can work through them a bit.
And in fact, maybe some of your questions will be answered tonight in a later presentation, so we'll see. Anything else from the committee? No, again, thank you so much for coming. Excellent questions and great presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Make a motion to return to regular order of business, Madam Chair.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, so we're back. And by the way, I know that the English Language Parent Advisory Committee update is still pending, so we'll be doing that at 6. So we'll go back to reports and presentation of superintendent and staff. And I have Food Service Director, Ms. Lisa Tamayan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa. This is my assistant, Mary Ann Colby.
And I think Dr. Crowley would like to make an opening.
Well, just very briefly, I had the pleasure of looking at your slide deck, and you give credit to a lot of people, and I just want to say I give credit to you both, because since March of 2020, I know that, we shut down on the 13th. I think on the 16th, we were together at the high school trying to figure out how to get food to kids. And, your leadership has been stellar throughout, so thank you.
Thank you very much. One thing I will have to say is Mary Ann, I'm not sure how many people know Mary Ann. She's always in the background, but I have to say she's my right-hand person, and without her, I don't think we would have gotten through COVID. And I truly appreciate it. I really, not only that. She does. She hates even being up there.
I know.
And I'm a little slighted that I was pushed to number 2. But that's okay. That's okay. But I do want to go through what we have been through. It has been a whirlwind. It has been humbled by all of us and all of our staff. We really had a team of probably 10 people going through this. And as you can see, the first slide is what we started with, maybe 6 choices at the high school, 1 choice at the elementary, 2 or 3 choices. It was all grab and go, cold food. We did the best we could under circumstances. In the meanwhile, with this, and again, I'm not here to tout Mary Ann, but during this time, as you know, I also run Stoneham School District. Stoneham came down with COVID. We were shut down completely, our kitchen in Stoneham. Not only did she successfully run Woburn, she went over to Stoneham and made sure those children were fed too. So I have to say that the staff from Woburn helped her get through with Stoneham as well. And that's a partnership that you can't break. And I truly believe what we did was nothing but of the staff that we had that did this for us. Going on to 2021, we now are going into April where they're kind of coming back. It's all grab and go again, but some of their favorites have come back. And as you see, we had not only to get the students involved, we had to get the parents involved. So the little lunch box you see right here on the left, it's literally a clear little box that looks like a lunch box. The kids loved it, and that was the way we were able to get them to take the food home and eat it, and never had an issue with food fights on buses or anything. They all respected what we were doing, thank goodness. So it worked out well. You can go to the next slide. Now we're back to full force this year. Never been happier, never been so proud of my staff to come back. I don't know if any of you know what this is. This is called an Acai Bowl, and it's a sorbet with granola. We have, and basically what we do, we copycat Dunkin' Donuts. This is Soul Bean from Middleton, where I live, where my kids eat. I copycat that. I copycat everything that the kids want. So whatever they're buying out in the district, I'm doing the same, and I haven't seen our numbers higher ever since being here. And we've been here 20-something years. And I have to say, these students are loving what we're offering them. So not only do they go from cold food almost to a frozen product, heating it up. Now they're back to their turkey dinner, the barbecue chicken, the things that they've missed, the home-cooked meals that they've wanted for 3 years, two and a half years, that they finally got back. So the numbers, not only in the elementary, middle, and high school, is astounding right now. It truly is, and it's great to see these kids. And I will say the stigma of free lunch is gone. Everybody is free. And I mean to tell you, I have never seen, when we first started this, the kids with the plastic bags leaving school, they were the free kids, right? So there was that stigma. They knew if I had a plastic bag, then I was free. So it was tough trying to get them to take their lunches. We finally get to this point where they're coming through, everybody's free, everybody knows it. They're buying 1 or 2 lunches. They have money on their account. They're the football players today, grabbing 2 lunches, and they're paying for it. They know to pay for the second. Some of them are putting it in their pockets. We see it. We take them out and say, all right, you get a free lunch. Do you have money on your account? No. If you're hungry, here you go. We're not going to deny them a second lunch, but we will call them out at it if I see them in their pockets. So again, how did we do this? The heroes of my staff. And I have to say, I really have to say that, you know, I gave a lot of accolades to my staff, but without them, we couldn't have done this. We could not have done this. And we did lose staff, unfortunately. Some did pass away from COVID, unfortunately, during this time. You can go to the next slide. So as you can see, we served 703,000 meals since we started. Huge. Again, many heroes. There was about 10 of us that did it. We delivered through buses in the food service van. We had Officer Fumacelli. Literally, we're in school buses. He had the sirens going with the intercom going through every area of town that we could pick to make sure that they were broadcasting that we're here, we're beeping horns, we're letting them know we're out here. And when you see a little kid come up with a $5 Dunkin' Donut card to give us, it breaks your heart. They have nothing. But that's how much they appreciated what we were doing for their people. And unfortunately, now that we kind of see COVID going a little bit away, I'm a little bit more concerned, quite honestly, with the holidays coming up, Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas coming up. So if you guys hear anything, please let us know. We just got a huge government quantity order in, and I have to thank the facility department at the high school that literally came to us. We had 1,400 cases of food that had to come into our freezer. All these guys were up there to help us. We have food, so if anyone, and I'm talking to the principals out there, if anyone needs help, please, we have turkey, we have everything that we can give them for the families to enjoy a holiday, okay? And how did we do it? We wrapped, and wrapped, breakfast and lunch, 7 days a week, that's all we did, and it was great. Go ahead. This is pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. September of 2019, we served 42,000 meals in the district. September of this year, 55,000. October, 56, 77,000. And this is all indicative to free lunch. I don't think free lunch is ever going away. I hope it should never go away. We feed our prisoners breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We should feed our students breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So this is just showing you that that stigma of free lunch is somewhat going away now. So, I'm glad to see that they're taking advantage of it. Pretty impressive. This time last year, we were $80,000 in the hole. This time right now, we're $185,000 off. And this is all because of reimbursements. So not only are we buying more, we're able to buy equipment. We were able to go for a grant that we're actually just submitted today for more equipment. So everything that we make in this department goes right back into the food service program. We are not allowed to pay an electric bill. We're not allowed to pay your heating bill here in this office. It has to be through the lunch program. So anything we do with this money is all Woburn's money. And it's all brought back into the system, whether it be fresh fruits and vegetables, whether it be better product, not that we can get product right now, but that'll be the next step. But it's all staying within our department, which is wonderful. As you all know, supply chain is a huge issue. You see the boats in California, they're sitting there, they're doing nothing. I have literally been on Amazon, Restaurant Depot, Costco, BJ's, Cisco, Gordon's Food Service, wherever it takes to get a simple boat to put vegetables in, to get a pizza box to put pizza in, to get chicken nuggets. I've gone to districts, I've been hearing from districts, one choice, that's all they get. One district is serving their kids cheese and crackers. High school, elementary, middle school level, one choice, cheese and crackers. They don't have the power that we have in order to go out and get other stuff because they're tied to a bid. They're self-ops, so they're tied to one bid. They make a bid with Thurston Food Service. That's the only people they can buy from. I can buy from anyone I need to. Amazon is at the high school every other day bringing me packages because I'm not going to allow my students to have one choice. As far as I'm concerned right now, we're back to regular. COVID is gone, and we're going to open it up and bring everything that we can, but it's safe. It's all pre-wrapped. There's no lines. Everything is there for these children to eat. Okay, next. And again, pretty impressive. Sean, my driver. Him and I were on buses together. Mary Ann was on another bus together. We were literally out. This big guy, Mr. Tough Man, see a tear in his eye? We saw it every day. It was amazing. It was humble. And when you get a card like this that just says thank you, a thank you, and our bus drivers that went all summer with us, took us around Woburn, they were amazing. So I have to say that what we've accomplished is pretty amazing. And I thank you for letting me be part of this community and be part of this, because I've never been more humbled in my life than after dealing with COVID after the 2.5 years.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kissel?
Very impressive.
Thanks.
Yeah. On the, I don't know, fourth page or so, the total meals you have was 703,000 or so. That was from March of 20 through September of 21. What, I know you had other numbers, but just what was it? What would you say would be a number before that?
A, we never served during the summer.
Okay.
Never served during vacations.
Gotcha.
Every vacation we were there. My staff never took a day off. And if they needed it, they probably had COVID. Somebody else stepped in for them. So the greatest thing I think that came out of this is like this summer with all the programs that we did, the summer programs, every program that we did, we were able to feed these kids. We've never been able to do that. And I think it's indicative of what years to come that I think we should continue this. Because obviously these children are there for a reason. They're being brought to these enrichment programs, whatever they may be, and they need their breakfast and lunch. So that's what's contributing to that number. Holidays, vacations, summer vacation, February vacation, we were open throughout the entire time.
And then obviously right now it's being reimbursed. Is there a time limit to that? I mean, is anyone thinking about, you said you hope it goes on forever.
I think right now what we just got from Governor Baker is, it's called CEP. Any school district any school in the district that is 50% or above free and reduced, get free breakfast and lunch. That would be your Shamrock school. One school that we have right now. I was on a DESI call the other day at Town Hall. They're dropping it to 25%. Most of our schools may be CEP. Breakfast and lunch free for the entire year. Because we're about 24% right now free and reduced. We're probably higher this year because of the direct certifications that are coming through. So we may be able to be CEP throughout the entire district. And that's a law that he just put in place. So next year, at least the Shamrock will be free. Most likely, most of our schools will be free as well. I don't see them turning back to paid. I truly do not see. And President Biden just also, I'm sorry, I just skipped on President Biden. I was making sure that was our president. President Biden just put into effect that there is another grant coming through, that he is also the money, the millions of dollars going to food service for this specific reason, because they realize what happened and how these kids need the food.
And you mentioned a profit of about 185 or so
Yep.
in that
Right now,
span.
that's where we stand.
So you mentioned it's allowing you to get new equipment and so on. What is there a limitation on what we can use it for? In other words,
As long as we use it for equipment and we're in hardship because we don't have that equipment. So as me and Mike had done the grant, some of the questions they asked, how would this be better if you had the food warmers? Well, quality, safety. The kids are going to get a better meal because of it. So if I can get 6 additional warmers out at these schools, then we're giving a better product out to the student. We're not just giving a cold ham and cheese sandwich. We are giving a hot turkey dinner. We're giving a barbecue chicken dinner. We're giving their favorite chicken nugget, whatever it may be. We'll have the warmers to be able to keep it to the safety that it needs to be at.
and you also mentioned, obviously there's pilfering going on, that's not good, but if you're giving a second meal at the end of any given day or week, what would you say, especially prepared things that are already wrapped that you probably isn't going to last for a long time?
It's funny. Today, I'm up at the high school today, and we looked at each other, wiped out completely. Completely wiped out of everything. And we're like, all right, we got to increase production. This isn't good, So we talked about it, and we said, all right, let's make X additional. There's no waste. There's no waste right now at all. And if we do have anything that is left over, it's either a salad or a sandwich that can be reused the next day, a parfait, or you take that chicken patty, you dice it up, and you put it on the salad the next day. So there's no waste at all.
Yeah.
At all. As far as the pilferage goes, it's odd who you see doing it. It's no specific group that's doing it. It's almost a game
Yeah, I was going to say that's
of what they
usually
can do. And, you look at them, and when I caught the kid the other day, and I said, what's in your pocket? Oh, My phone. Okay, what's the black and white striped wrapper you got? That. Oh, that? And all his buddies like, hey! You know, they're all having a good old time over it. And I'm like, all right, give me this. You know, and they just laugh and they move along. But it's more of a game for them. It's see what they can get. But in seriousness, I will stop them and say, listen, how hungry are you? And they're like, I'm hungry. I got to go play football. I'm playing soccer. I'm running track. I said, here, go ahead. You know, but be honest with us.
Yeah.
That's all we ask.
Excellent. No, good. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Mrs. Chisholm? This is awesome, but when you're asking about information, maybe we can get the information to Kathleen Donovan to kind of hook up with you for foods and with families to go along with the packages that she's delivering all the time to people.
We do a lot of backpack programs with the Kennedy. We have a lot of people contacting us through the high school, especially, we just happen to have somebody contact us today of a girl that's having a tough time, and we're putting a gift package together for them. Because that's what we do, you know. So whether it be food, it doesn't just have to be food. Our staff is willing to give anything that they have in their closets to make it work for these kids.
Thank you. Good job.
Thanks.
Mr. Lipset?
Just a couple quick things, and first, the first question I had written down was for you to talk about the free the free lunch, the impact that that's had, and you covered all of what I was looking for. But it is really incredible what we've been able to do with that program. And I like you, I really hope that it continues. Could you talk a little bit about, you mentioned the governor's, the recent law that was signed into law. Could you talk about any other impacts that's had? A large piece of that was around issues of lunch shaming. I know that that's a practice that we don't do, but I wonder if there were any particular impacts from that law.
I think it's more the food insecurity that they realized what was happening during COVID, and I think you still see it. And I think it really opened up a lot of people's eyes that the food insecurity is real, that it's just not a few here. I mean, we used to be 23% food free and reduced. At this point, I'd say we're up in the 30s, 35%, which is very low for this district. But you know what? It's still a very big impact. So we're still making an impact on these students. You know, when we went through some of the tough towns of area, the very low income areas. We hit them hard. And when you see them coming out and running to the van, and they're like, oh my God, and these parents are just almost in tears, and we're like, no, take extra, here, what do you need, what do you want? You know, Sean would go on afterwards, and he would literally go door to door, you know, because we happen to have a donation of produce. We happen to have a donation from Stop and Shop. The donations were amazing. So we would take those donations and go back out after we did our rounds. And I'd say, all right, let's hit this house, and this house with a box of food that will keep them for the good week, on top of what we've already given them. So I think to answer your question, I think everyone saw the huge food insecurity in this country today. I mean, or 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, how bad the food insecurity really was. And I think Governor Baker saw that. I think the president is seeing it. I think everybody is seeing that it's not these kids' fault. Whatever these parents do with their money is their problem. But at least we can do is give them a breakfast and lunch. I would even say give them a dinner. Give them whatever we need to do to keep these kids in school and healthy.
And, I mean, I can't thank you enough. I know Woburn can't thank you enough for everything that you did, that Mary Ann did, that Sean did, that your whole staff did. And I know it saved a lot of people.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
A lot of heroes.
Yes, absolutely. And just one quick additional question, and this might be also something for Dr. Rally. For students who may be quarantined, is there any... has there been any discussion of if any of them are food insecure, how we might be able to get meals?
Great question, and no, we have not even dove into that this year.
Okay.
So we have no open campuses right now, which means parents can come and get food from a school, like we did during COVID, pure COVID. I was on the town hall meeting the other day, and they did broach that question, who is an open site? Well, Woburn High is an open site. Could we do it? Yes. Have we done it? No. Could we get the word out? Yes. Maybe we should. Because now that you're bringing that up, I hadn't even thought about the kids that are quarantined, or the kids that are being homeschooled, or chose to be remote, whether a school is shut down or a classroom is shut down. But I think that's something we need to look into especially going into the holiday season and the flu season and everything that's coming up. I think the flu season, cold season, and COVID are going to create havoc again. So we need to get prepared to do that.
And especially, you talked about the surplus that we currently have
Yes.
that might allow us for
Mhm.
some of that flexibility.
Absolutely.
So I'd love to see if administration.
We would just need to get the word out.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Lipset. Dr. Wells?
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for the presentation. It's great to see society puts a lot on the school system to cure a lot of societal problems, but at least this time they put the money where the problem is, so it's great to see that. And it's great, it really highlights, how much the city, but throughout the country, they depend upon the school system to solve all these issues. And, hunger, who would have thought, when you were being trained as a teacher, that you're going to be responsible for the hunger in the city. So it's just amazing, and it demonstrates how everybody stepped up. I did have a question about, potential areas of concern that you may have. I'm thinking about workers. I see that there's a lot of trouble getting people to, to take jobs and so forth. And I was wondering if that's an issue that you're anticipating or seeing.
Already see it.
Yeah.
Huge issue, unfortunately. Like I said, we went through a very big retirement. So we lost a lot of people during retirement. We lost a lot of people to COVID. We lost a lot of people to other issues that weren't foreseen. And right now, my staff is taxed. They're taxed. And I have had conversations with principals because there's so many different ways that we are now serving these children. Some schools have 6 lunches. Well, you're taxing my staff.
Yeah.
You're talking about a member that works 6 hours, but the lunch period is lasting 6.5 to 7 hours, or earlier at 10 in the morning versus 11 o'clock. Some of my employees are like, yeah, that's great, you're going to pay me, you're going to give me extra hours. I don't want the hours, I'm tired. Because they're older people. We do have older staff on our thing, but I'm tired. Everyone's tired. It's been a long 2.5 years. So at this point, we have some openings right now. The list has gone back out, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that we'll be fully staffed very soon. But it is taxing on the staff, and we've given every option, whether we try to work with the principals to say, how can we make it a little easier on my staff, where I had to get involved and say, listen, if a teacher missed their lunch break, you'd hear it. You'd hear it in a second. Well, my staff is losing their 15-minute break. 15-minute may not be anything to anybody, but when you're standing on your feet for 5.5 hours, 15-minute means a lot to sit down and have a sip of water. And that's the way I'm approaching the principals now, that if that was a teacher coming to you, you would have no choice but to go after it. You would have a grievance, you'd have something, right? My staff at least comes to me and explains, how can we make this better? And then I'll get involved, and I'll get involved with the principals and say, listen, we have to come together and make it a little easier for my staff, because they have been through the winter.
We need subs.
And we need subs. Yeah.
Well, we should look at that at some point in finance or personnel. And just
It's
see what
tough
we,
everywhere.
Yeah, no, I know it's tough, but especially if we're envisioning that we're going to be going to having, traditionally the lunch program ended at the last day of school, but it looks like it may be staying on year round. So it maybe change the outlook on people that want the job if it's a year-round job as opposed to 6 months, whatever. So that's just something we should look at. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the work.
Ms. Falconer, did you want to say something?
If I may, Madam
Of
Chair,
course.
I just want to also express my gratitude to both of you and your entire staff. What you say is absolutely true, that it was a team of heroes to do this. And I have been thoroughly impressed since I came on in May of 2020, the operation that was already running at that time and has continued for the past year plus. So thank you very much for everything that you've done and your staff has done on this presentation. And just to amplify what you had said about the funding, we're told that the USDA is going to continue to keep free lunch through June 30th of next year, or until money's run out, but we're crossing our fingers that we're going to be good for the entire school year. And just to clarify, the monies that come in from the lunch program and are paid out are the cafeteria revolving. So we have had a healthy surplus at the end of last year, and we were able to purchase a few warmers over the summer that were they're end of life. We had to get this new equipment, and we did it immediately during the summer to get that up and running, and hopefully if the grant that Dr. Baldessari and you're working on, we can replace some more of those warmers before they break. So, and we hear you with the substitutes and getting CAP workers. We absolutely we have positions open. So hopefully that, like anything else, it's been a lot. It's been very difficult to find people to work. So. But thank you so much.
You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure working with both of you, and I look forward to continued years of success.
And in closing, I heard from Bob that, somebody did some type of a report card on us that our food service is a C-. I will put my money where my mouth is, and I will go after any other district that's doing what we're doing. And I will have to say, I have to thank Tom Quayle. He had a Facebook page kind of going crazy, saying we ran out of lunch at the Joyce. We did not run out of lunch. We ran out of that child's choice. There's a difference. He squashed it. He called that parent and told them to take that post down. This is not fair of what you're doing to these hardworking employees. And I sent Tom an email thanking him. And if anything I can ask all of you is to support the program and what my staff is doing and the amount of choices. Who has an acai bowl? Who has guacamole toast? Come on, guys, right? So all I ask is your backing if you see anything on Facebook. I don't even go on it. I used to be on Twitter. I'll tweet a little bit here and there. I got one bad comment in my temper. I had to shut it down because I'd probably be out of a job. So I just said, you know what, Lisa, shut it down. So on that note, that's what I have. But thank you all for your support.
Well, we still have a couple more questions for you, so just and I actually think that the Facebook situation is more of a symptom of this larger insecurity about food, right? That people are still reacting to the idea that people don't have enough food. So in a way, I understand it, but I remember it well. So, anyways, Mr. Mulrennan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You think I was going to sit there and be quiet, did you, Lisa? No. Quick update. The concern you talked about, higher up beyond this room, the mayor, the city council, the governor, presidents. Do you feel as though, and you've got applications in for grants through Dr. B's office or whatever, you feel it's necessary for this board to maybe urge our state representatives to get whatever else needs you may see down the road? Or are we doing okay?
The more voices heard, the more we're going to get.
Okay,
that's the way I look at it.
So obviously you could work with our chairwoman here and work something out that we could all sign off on and send that into the state level to meet your needs. And again, the only other comment would be, you're on the agenda as a presentation of the superintendent. We often have a category in the agenda called silver linings. And each and every one of these pages on, especially this last page where you're out in the neighborhoods. You're at the Boys and Girls Club, you're at the YMCA programs. You're looking into other needs of our community. I think this is more of a silver lining as well as a presentation of your, status for Aramark with us. But I think, you guys are out there. You guys are doing it.
Yeah.
You haven't stopped. So again, whatever you need from this district to this board level here to help your needs get, verified at the state level, we're more than happy to help you out. So thanks for all you're doing. Appreciate it.
Ms. Mulrennan and Dr. Crowley.
So I think I might be last, but anyway, this was an incredible presentation. Like I said, I had the privilege of seeing it prior, and you do distribute the credit to your staff, and I agree with you. But I started by saying thank you to you, Mary Ann. It's been a challenge that you've met, and your presentation did nothing but support the effort. And I'll close with a funny sort of a comment. So Sean called this office about a week or two ago asking if he could have a day off.
Denied.
And I said, why? Like, he's calling here. He hasn't had a day off since March of 2020. he didn't know how to take a day off. So that's a tribute to his dedication and to you and to the staff. And so I advised him to call you. I hope you said yes. But,
Unfortunately, I did.
Anyway, that's a true story. I just thought I'd share his commitment to the kids. It's really remarkable. So thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Yes, appreciate you coming. Thank you for the presentation. Yes, so we have...
Madam, I'm sorry, just before we move on, could I make a motion to draft a letter of thanks to Ms. Mann and to her entire staff for everything that they've done over the past year and a half, especially on behalf of the children of Woburn?
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? Anyone opposed? No. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Madam Chairman, along the same lines, could we send the presentation down to the mayor and the city council so that they understand, and I'm sure the mayor does, but I'm not sure if the council, always keeps in touch with what's happening in the school system and how much we did to support the citizens of Woburn outside of the school.
Absolutely. In fact, Ms. Tamayan should do a presentation for the council, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want a motion, or do you want me
No,
to do
that's
it?
fine.
Okay. All right, we'll do it. So I know that Director Ryan from Special Education is here, so would we like to hear her out of order?
Yeah, make a motion on the regular order of
Okay.
business.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we'll hear from Ms. Maureen Ryan, Director of Special Education.
So everyone knows Maureen, and I appreciate the committee's willingness to have her here tonight. And I want to thank Maureen for being available on such short notice. But as you've heard from other presentations tonight, we're in a challenging time, and it's not a normal time. And I think it's important that we just keep communicating with each other to support our kids at the end of the day, in whatever way that means. So with that said, Ms. Ryan.
So thank you, Madam Chair, and the rest of the committee members. And Dr. Crowley, I very much appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. I know you have a busy night, so thank you very much. Okay, so I like to always start with framing presentations for special education with just, in general, my philosophy and the commitments that we have to, one, a safe educational setting. We're going to talk a little bit about safety tonight. Two is to providing a high-quality education for all students. I believe every child can learn, and I work very hard to provide the very best education for every child. A commitment to fiscal responsibility. It's very important. Special education comes with a heavy price tag, and I am committed to being fiscally responsible. And long-term solutions to build capacity. I think that's really important. With COVID, we have had a lot of different grants and different challenges, and I have tried very hard to not have Band-Aids, but to really think through solutions that will build capacity. And also a commitment to keeping students educated in district. I truly believe that educating students in the least restrictive setting and in their home community at the end of the day is what's best for every child. Okay, so as we start, I'd like to share quickly a couple of bright spots. Literacy. We know that there were a lot of learning gaps, and I've worked in many districts, and I think that I feel strongly that for the first time, we are aligning Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3, and the collaboration with the staff in the Woburn Public Schools is amazing. We have general ed teachers and special ed teachers. We have coaches. We have curriculum specialists. We have people that are all joining together, and we are training in Wilson. We ran another training in September. We have an advanced training scheduled in December. We are considering and working towards a COMPASS program for Wilson so that we can have our own district certified trainers. We just completed Linda Mood Bell, Seeing Stars. Teachers requested this. They've also requested another round of Linda Mood V&V. And Melissa Orkin came and she worked with some of our teachers. She's been on site in the classrooms working with some of our complex students. And the excitement for this has truly been incredible. So it's something that I'm very proud of. It's November and I feel as if we've really done an awful lot already to close learning gaps with literacy. We also are working towards inclusion and shifting the mindset. This is something that I hear an awful lot from parents about. We were fortunate to have Dot Lucci from NESGA and Jenny Dunkley from JDK Communications present to all staff on Election Day. Dot Lucci is doing visits in classrooms at the Shamrock School. She is working with both general ed staff and special education staff. And we also have introduced the program at the middle school, the GAIN program. We have a room that is in an area of the school that is redesigned, and we are working with Ross Green to build that program to be more inclusive. And we also have introduced a lot of additional technology as a way to really assist with some of these classrooms. So those are some of the bright spots. Immediate needs. What we're here to talk about tonight is the RISE program at the Shamrock School and working to stabilize this. As a little bit of background, back in the 1920 school year, we early on started talking about paraprofessionals, the level of training, supports in exploring behavior technicians in the school district. We actually had all of our staff at one point complete coursework towards an RBT. It was something we did during some PD days. And it's something that we've really been looking at because of the population of students that we have with significant special needs. It has been on the radar. Behavior technicians have a skill set that with training to work with students that have more challenging behaviors and more severe needs. So this is something that's been on the radar. We also had talked about having behavior technicians that could work a 205-day year so that we would have continuity for our students during the extended year program. So when teachers finish up and our students continue on, it's often very difficult for students that don't have familiar staff to transition, and this was something that we had discussed. Okay, so why are these needs being brought forward mid-fiscal year? And this is not something that I think anybody takes lightly. We tried very hard to plan, and you know, the reality of this situation is that we can only plan when we have data and we don't have a crystal ball. And the pandemic has changed an awful lot. It is a whole new landscape. And the challenge with special education is it's mandated. We can't wait. When we have services, needs, students that move in, we must provide it. It's not optional. So it is one of the challenges. We can't plan ahead and work into budgets when we don't have a need for it, but then when we have things that come up, we must address it. Okay, so why is this happening? Students have been out of school, obviously, and routines disrupted. Every student has had a level of disruption. Students with special needs take longer to recoup skills. Students with special needs, many of them had a difficult time accessing remote services. We have students that had all sorts of different family dynamics during the pandemic. Our programs have exceeded capacity. We have students that were not special education students that have returned to school and now are being evaluated and have very significant needs due to the events of the past year and a half. The skill level that is needed to work with some of these students is very significant. The other issue that we're seeing is that we have a large number of move-ins. Woburn is an affordable community, and we are attracting a lot of move-ins, which is also a factor. So why are we here tonight in the middle of a fiscal year with a request? The reason is safety. Our students are demonstrating significant regression. We are specifically seeing concerns at the Shamrock School and the RISE program. We are seeing emergency removals, suspensions, student and staff injuries, It is adversely affecting time on learning, and it is limiting our ability to meet the contractual obligations for teachers' preps and lunches. So about a month ago, I met with the Personnel Committee, and I actually took this slide from there. It's a little bit of context with some of the data. 55 elementary students with severe special needs, 20 middle school students with severe needs, 18 moved in with severe needs this year, and we had at the time 5 in-district students waiting for programs. And we were at that meeting because we were also trying to deal with a grievance, which was regarding coverage for lunches and preps. Following that meeting, you all supported, and I very much appreciate, the addition of 2 BCBAs to help us begin to manage some of the behaviors. And we talked about exploring registered behavior technicians to further assist us with some of these challenges. So this morning I pulled up a list, and I went and I asked everyone to please help me out to make sure that we were current. And as of today, we have 45 students that have moved in this school year on IEPs. Many of those have severe needs. Many of them are program students. This is a very large number of students. This is not something that we could have predicted, and it is very significant. 45 is a lot. So here we are today, and when we talk about where are we currently, we have a continued flow of move-ins. We are seeing them every week. Many of them are coming in requiring intensive programs. Many of them have had no formal education. Many don't speak English. And we are seeing quite a few with severe needs requiring one-to-one assistance, medical needs, etc. We're seeing staff injuries, staff burnout. This is impacting the emotional well-being of our staff. We have had multiple resignations over the past 2 weeks. We are struggling to meet the contractual obligations because teachers the classrooms are not safe enough for teachers to step out for lunches and breaks. We also have students that are waiting for programs, both in district and out of district, and this is something that I'd like to point out a little bit. Out of district programs are struggling with the same problems. So we have students that are waiting to go out of district. Specifically, we have a few at the Shamrock School. We have students at the Goodyear School that are waiting to go to the Shamrock, and we have students at the Reeves that are waiting to go to the Goodyear. We have a bottleneck with our programs because they are all at capacity, and it is due to the needs that the students have returned with. So we're here, and the request tonight is to talk about behavior technicians. Our program teachers, specifically at the Shamrock, need assistance and coverage with staff that have the skills and the training to support students with intensive needs so that they can safely do their jobs. Right now, I am requesting up to 10 behavior technicians. I do not know what the market is and what the availability is to actually find these people, but I would like to try. I think that we need to address this problem, and it is, I believe that this would go a long way to solving many of these issues. There are some other programs in district that are also struggling, but the Shamrock is the greatest need, and I feel that it's important that we address it and begin to stabilize it quickly. Along with the move-ins and the intensive needs students has come an overwhelming amount of students that require speech and language. Speech and language is one of the areas where we have seen a very high amount of learning loss. Students lost language skills. They were not interacting with peers. They were not working on social pragmatics. And a lot of students that have significant speech and language needs could not effectively access remote services. So we are seeing that this is a problem. I would like to, out of the 460 students, that currently require speech and language. If you divide it up, the caseloads for the SLPs are now at 42, which is very high. And the other piece of data here that I'd like to point out is we already have 123 evaluation requests. And that number is incredibly high. I am going to explore contracting a speech and language pathologist to try to meet some of the needs of our students. Right now, the staffing that we have is not sufficient to meet the required services of the students. When we talk about the behavior technicians and looking at up to 10, my intention for this is I am hoping to utilize grant money to support behavior technicians. And we have a program review that New England Center for Children is working with us on this year. And one of the questions that I have asked them to look carefully at is staffing models, given the profile of the students that we currently have. They will be visiting all of the classrooms and helping us to address the model so that we can efficiently staff the program in a manner that is safe and allows the students to access the education that they're entitled to. So if you were to support this, we would begin recruiting and looking at behavior technicians that we would, at this time, fund via a grant. As an aside, I did take a tuition. If you were to take a student at the May Center and take 2 of them and look at the actual numbers, funding 10 behavior technicians is actually less expensive than funding 2 students out of district. And then as a perspective, if we were to take the 55 students that we have in the program and look at a Melmark tuition for a student leaving us at age 8 without factoring in transportation and yearly increases, this is the number. So I really do believe it is worth investing in our programs. And I think in terms of the big picture, the population of severe learners in Woburn has increased exponentially, and we need to adjust some of our structures to meet the needs of the kids. The number one priority is that our students and staff are safe, and I think that we need to take some steps, given what is the current status. Can I answer questions?
I think this committee might have some questions. I just want to say that I appreciate your transparency, and these things aren't easy. This is not an easy time. I work in mental health for kids, and what you're saying is 100% happening. I've never seen anything like it. Residential placements, out of district placements are booked, and so I just want to support you because it's happening and it's a crisis. So, Dr. Wells, you had a question?
Yeah. Could you just explain, so I understand, like behavioral technician, what kind of training do they have? What's the expectation from, degrees and so forth?
Sure. A behavior technician is somebody that is trained in applied behavioral analysis. Mm-hmm. They often run discrete trials. They typically have hands-on training, so safety care, for example, is one, so that if a student needs some...
Where would you go, I just don't remember seeing it in the college catalog or something, how would somebody become trained as a behavioral technician, so I kind of understand?
So it is coursework that is done, and it's probably all online right now due to COVID. And then what happens is they have supervised hours by a board-certified behavioral analyst, and they receive an actual certification. Mm-hmm. So behavior technicians are trained under a BCBA. Okay. There is a process for a registered behavior technician, but it is a skill set that is trained under a board-certified behavioral analyst.
I believe, to answer your question, it's probably individuals who have been paraprofessionals who have advanced their expertise in that area, but that's probably where they kind of started.
Yeah, I think some of them go through programs. For example, U Lowell has an autism certificate program,
Okay.
and you'll see individuals that come out of that.
Yeah. So how, I was just trying to think how long it takes to get the training, because if you can't find the people,
Yeah.
do we need to develop our own program to create them, you know? Right.
So that is something actually that I started working on back in 2019-20,
Mhm.
and our paraprofessionals did actual coursework towards completion. There is then hours that is supervised, and we do have, that is something that we have been working to build capacity
Okay.
for.
And I would say that our BCBAs in district have expressed the interest in supporting parents who are ready to do that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
BCBAs actually take a course
Mhm.
so that they then have the ability.
Train.
Yes.
Okay. So it could be that that would be a way of paras that want to advance their skill set moving. We could have a cycle where paras come in, learn the para world, and then move on. Okay.
Yes.
That makes sense. You talked about the speech and language specialist. You know, if you add one, it just reduces the workload to 39 students. You know, is it worth, you know, is one enough, I guess?
I think one would go a long way.
Okay.
The Shamrock School especially, because the students have severe needs, they can't be put into, you know, pairs or groups easily, and they also have AAC devices which require programming that is more time intensive. So I think one right now is really what the need is.
And the student, you know, we're primarily focusing, it sounds like, on the elementary Shamrock area. We're doing, but those students that are moving in, are they all throughout the whole grade levels, or is it we just primarily seeing them at younger age?
No, I think that you know, I have a list by grade, and I didn't actually do analysis on the different grades. The ones that are impacting us the most are the Shamrock elementary age students. They seem to be the age group where the most severely disabled students are coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. The 45 that have moved in, that's just 45 special education students?
Yes.
So the surrounding cities and towns, do you have any talk with them as far as, are they getting as many, or is it just because we have, you know, the affordability and more than other towns?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually had talked with area directors when I was at a local collaborative meeting, and I do think we are seeing a higher number specifically of students on the autism spectrum than other communities.
I mean, because that's something we have to consider when we talk about budget season and comparing ourselves to other towns, and they're not having the need. And the multiple reservations, is that mostly at the Shamrock, or is that across the elementary?
It's mostly the Shamrock. We have had, you know, there have been a few in some different buildings, but I would say the ones that are of concern are from the Shamrock that are very, you know, I spoke with one person, I've been talking with them, and this individual was very kind, and she said, I adore these students, but I'm too worried about getting hurt.
Yeah.
And that's really what is happening at the Shamrock.
And the salary, you think $40,000 a piece is what you'd be looking at, or?
So I think we need to, I think we need to see what's out there and really begin the process of actively recruiting. But I'm hopeful.
I mean, you're asking for 10, but what would be the minimum that you would need to just get us back into the safety area?
Right. So the reason that the 10 came from the classrooms at the Shamrock.
Okay.
And the classrooms at the Shamrock are really struggling with the same problem. And that's where the 10 came from.
Okay. So, but do you think that that's something we'll be able to fill even if we have it, or is this something that?
I don't know.
To hope and prayer?
I don't know.
Well, budget season's going to be very interesting this year. But I just, and like the speech request, do you think some of that's just due to some masks from the kids that didn't really have it? Because I can't imagine getting speech over a Zoom.
so it's just.
No, I believe that the speech caseload is increased significantly because the students that have come in have significant language needs. When we see students come in with severe disabilities, the rate and frequency of the speech is much higher.
It's just a little unnerving to get 10. That's my concern. I mean, I think that we definitely need to address it, and I think we need to be able to, those that have resigned or have left us, those are already in the budget, so it's not really a concern to replace them, but we do need to give help where it's needed. But I think that the 10 is kind of scary at this point. I mean, we're November. Hopefully we can get through it. I think you said there's 10 classrooms. Right.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chisholm. Any further questions for Director Ryan? Yes, Dr. Wells.
Yeah, I don't know, we belong to SEAM. Are they able to provide any?
They don't have
No.
staff.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It's
So,
a pretty significant
Yeah.
problem, the staffing issue.
right, and, I think from a committee perspective, as Mrs. Chisholm indicated, you need the 10, but we got to have Plan B, C, and D, and make sure you come back to us as soon as,
Well, yeah, I appreciate the flexibility even tonight to
Yeah.
consider this.
Yeah.
I think,
It's, safety for both students and teachers, it has to rise above everything else, and if we can't get 10 within the next, we have to set a reasonable deadline, and then if not, we have to come back with Plan B.
Right.
But good luck. Yeah.
right.
Let's just, Mr. Lipset and then Mr. Kissel, and so we can make a motion.
Just one quick, you know what, actually, I'm sorry, this can wait.
Oh,
We'll get
okay.
to the motion.
Mr. Kissel?
Real quick, you mentioned, you talked to one going out the door, so to speak. You do exit interviews typically, so maybe there's some other feelings of what other people that have resigned, what their
I
reason?
have been having conversations with everybody that is leaving.
And is it typically a safety thing or
The-
burnout?
The staff that are leaving now, it is due to the needs of the students being perhaps more than what was anticipated, and safety.
And where, if there's a follow-up with them at all, if you know them, where are they going? So is it a better place, a higher pay? Is it less numbers per person?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'm assuming they're just not leaving the profession and staying home. They might be going to a different district that has
Some
maybe 10 of
are,
these
but
already.
I don't know the specifics, so.
Okay. And the 10 that are coming in are going to alleviate some of the issues. Are we looking for people that, because if the people above them, I had it on the screen, I lost my train of thought on that, but if they're leaving for safety, are the people coming in, we looking for people that know that there's probably going to be an issue, or?
Yes, so behavior technicians, the reason for asking for behavior technicians as opposed to increasing paraprofessionals is because they are trained to work with students with aggressive behaviors and with a more challenging profile.
Okay. Good, thanks.
Okay, so would Mr. Mulrennan?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Of course.
I think a while back, Ms. Ryan, you were before us. I underlined it a bunch of times in my notes. Severe needs, severe needs, severe needs, severe needs. And now tonight you're talking safety. Safety needs. So obviously, I'm sure everybody here at the table agrees, safety's got to be paramount with our actions. But I think, obviously, we have Ms. Crowley and Ms. Cormier, yourself. I consider you folks kind of experts in your fields. And you discussed a little earlier, the backlog of getting families and getting students and getting children services. So if they're not getting the services, just draw us a picture if you would, because my leading question is here to obviously promote what you're trying to get for us. But what's happening to that kid and that family tonight? That there's no room at Woburn. Where you're at, Ellen, there's really nothing. You just can't flip a switch and say, you're going to go here. Colleen services are out there, but the line's backed up across.
My services,
across
you
the
can
line.
avoid it.
Up where Colleen is.
I mean,
we got room at the end, I'm just saying.
I just want to know, is there room
Not
at Woburn?
ideal.
And where are these kids, in the meantime? Where,
They're in our classroom,
okay.
yes. And our programs are at capacity and over capacity. I mean, that's exactly the issue, is that we have students in district that have program level need, but we can't put them there because we can't put any more students in. We're struggling with the students that we have in the program.
And obviously, it's the law, so as, you know, it's a numbers game. So tonight you're telling us, 45 moved in, you get a number of 10. And again, for someone that's been here a while, whether it's yourself or previous sped directors, it's always been, how many moved in, how many moved out, where we're at, how we doing? And it just changes constantly for your department. So by doing this, it's kind of getting us over the hump, keeping our staff and students safe, obviously. But again, down the road, they're going to be back with an additional 10 additional families and 10 students and looking for a need of 2 or 3 more staff?
Yeah, so that's a good question. So, right now, this request is to really tackle the problem at the Shamrock.
Okay.
There are other buildings that are facing some challenges, but the Shamrock is really the largest problem. The goal with bringing in behavior technicians with more skill is that we're apt to provide more in the classrooms, that we can better support the needs, and that once we have classrooms that are, students that are managed and that are responding to the interventions, that we would be able to then increase capacity.
And along those same lines, obviously with tonight's discussions around the Shamrock, but I know you've addressed the Goodyear. If you want to give us a little history on how successful we're doing over at the Goodyear school due to additional bodies and staffing.
Right. So the Goodyear school is full in terms of the program right now, and we are looking, again, they're part of the bottleneck. We have some students that are waiting to go to the GAIN program, and we have some students that are waiting to leave the GAIN program. It's really a domino effect. And, the thought is that by adding a level of skill into some of these rooms, we can do more with the students that are here, because we need to build capacity, is the bottom line.
Yeah. That's kind of like your final slide right here. It's just, and again, I appreciate the staff, the slide on the tuitions outside of our district. We've always talked about trying to keep our students in our district, in our schools, and this is a program and services that will help down the road, so I appreciate it.
And I think, with respect to the behavior technicians, again, we started really talking about this years ago, because when I came to Woburn and saw the autism population, it was very clear to me that this was something that we needed. I think that, the reason that we're here now earlier than expected, prior to the budget cycle, is because the students have returned and their behaviors are just far more challenging than what was ever anticipated.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions from the committee? And I take it the superintendent has a recommendation?
Well, I absolutely support Ms. Ryan. I think she's done a great job articulating the need, and appreciate the level of detail that she provides every day to advocate for the staff, but most importantly for our kids. So
I'll make a motion that we approve addition of 10 behavioral technician and 1 speech pathologist, and the administration update us first meeting in December as to the progress in filling those positions.
Second. All right. Any discussion on that motion?
On the motion?
Yes, of course,
I
Ms.
just want to
Chisholm.
make sure that we let the mayor know that we have hiring staff, just so that they can keep in a loop.
yes.
And maybe we can even give this presentation to him, again, send it to the council so they are aware of the needs that our city is facing.
I will.
Any further discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. With gusto.
Good luck.
Thank you. Really appreciate your time. And again, the transparency about what the challenges are and the ways in which the school committee can help. So,
Very much appreciated. Thank you.
of course.
Thanks, Maureen.
Thank you. Okay.
Will we return to regular order business?
Second.
All in favor? All right, so now we're going back to... Mr. Lipson, did you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay, all right. You're just moving your pen a lot. So it's
He's conducting.
confusing me. Yeah, all right, so that's cool. Okay, so we have the superintendent's goals is next. And just as, oh, no, he's ready. I was just wondering, who has minutes for their subcommittees?
I do.
Okay. just
I'm
one?
moving that pen with purpose.
And
this
you,
time.
okay, 2. All right. Just wondering. Thank you.
Ready?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Crowley.
Drum roll.
No, anyway, I provided the committee this electronically and then alluded to it at a previous meeting, so I'm happy to go through this, answer questions that you may have. The process is the same that it's been the past few years. It's SMART goals, specific, measurable, actionable, relevant, timely. One of the things that I do think I might do probably too much is reflect. But, in theory, you're trying to reflect on how to improve. And so I want the goals to align with the strategic plan and also align with the DESE superintendent rubric, which is linked to the presentation. There are really 3 different types of goals: a district improvement goal, if you will, student learning goal, and professional practice goals. This is just a snapshot of the superintendent and actually any district administrator rubric. There are 4 standards up top: instructional leadership, management and operations, family and community engagement, and professional culture. Those are the 4 big standards. And then there are 21 indicators that are listed as well. If you were to click into any one of them, they would give you the rubric and examples of what should be met within those indicators. Unfortunately, and I say this, this district goal, COVID-19, I have to start here because it's the same goal that I had last year, and that's when I say unfortunately. But I can't tell you how much time. I think you've heard it tonight in a variety of different ways. COVID is dominating a lot of time and energy of all of our staff, and it's a collective effort. But I feel my job is to provide effective leadership, support, and communication to all stakeholders throughout this school year. And so I want to talk about a couple key actions and go just beyond what's listed. So under health and safety as a key action, one of the things that I can tell you today, for the first time, it was at the request of our school nurses. We've been having students out on quarantine who, if they had the ability to get a PCR test, could come back to school if they tested negative. What was happening is the school nurses were calling home. The parents are working, and they wouldn't be able to take their kid or child to go get a PCR test. I've arranged through Armstrong Ambulance to have the ambulance go do the PCR test at that child's home, and we can get the kid back to school. And so that happened today for the first time. The results we don't know because the test was today. But that kind of outside-the-box thinking to try to get kids in school safely is an example of the kinds of things that are taking up some of my time to organize, to help support our school nurses, and to make sure our kids get back to school safely. So, this is a health crisis. It's now become an educational crisis, but that has to be the priority. And so that's why it's at the top of the list. Another example as it relates to health and safety, over the past week, I've met with Dr. Eric Conti, the superintendent in Burlington, He and I have a good relationship. Burlington's seeing some of these crises for the first time as it relates to a lot of newcomer families. And what's happening is students aren't able to enroll in school without the appropriate vaccinations and physicals and so forth. And so Dr. Conti and I reached out to Senator Cindy Friedman, who on Friday submitted a bill for $300,000 to come to Woburn and Burlington to explore the possibility of how do we work together to set up some type of system where students that are coming into the city or town of Burlington can get enrolled as soon as possible. Because what's happening now is that these students that we need to come into our classrooms have to go to Lynn and so forth to get the services that they need. And it's hard when you don't have transportation to get to Lynn. And so that's as an example of health and safety and sort of the outside-the-box thinking that is going on that's taking time to do, but I believe it's all a function of COVID. As it relates to some of the other items here, the facilities, I think we've talked about the air purifiers that are now in every classroom that occurred, the feasibility study that's going to be upcoming. The staffing, I think, again, tonight, Ms. Ryan's presentation, I think highlighted, and I appreciate so much the committee's support, not only of tonight, but the BCBA's, the EL staffing that COVID's presented. I think that the budget, obviously, is something that we've been watching closely. I have, and meetings is on here every Friday. The committee knows this, but I have a standing meeting with Mayor Galvin Fridays at 9:30. The majority of that meeting is dedicated to budget, and so we're watching everything very closely and working very closely with the city to make sure that we have everything we need. The other meeting that I have with the city is on Mondays with the COVID team, representative of the police, fire, DPW, and Board of Health, and to make sure that we are trying to meet the needs of the entire community. And that meeting happens on Monday. We had that meeting Monday, and I can tell you now we are going to have a vaccine clinic on Saturday, November 20th, from 9 to 1 p.m. at Woburn Memorial High School for students age 5 to 11. I organized that today, or finalized that today. And so that kind of dialogue that happens between the city and the schools has been so important. But the idea is that the city is stepping up, the Board of Health, to set up this clinic. We're going to help staff it. I'll communicate to the families that this is an option. I think right now it's subject to change, but I think we're shooting for 400 vaccines on that Saturday the 20th. And so we don't know, obviously, how many students will sign up. Different communities have different response. This has been my 8th vaccine clinic setting up with 0 days of medical school. But it's, it's part of what we're doing and trying to meet the needs of our kids. And so I share all that because COVID has to be one of our goals this year. And the goal is to hopefully get beyond COVID this year. So I'd like my evidence to be like a big picture of all kids smiling in school with no masks and everyone hugging each other. And actually, Dr. Altman, who spoke earlier tonight, has reached out as a result of the funding available from Senator Friedman's office. So I anticipate working with him and some of the other local pediatric places. So district goal, the strategic plan. It's hard to believe, maybe it is or maybe it isn't, that our strategic plan is 3 years old. And so what we need to do is update it to reflect our current reality. And I'm so proud of what we've been able to accomplish over the last 3 years. but I feel like we need to make sure that we keep moving forward. And so the key actions, one is the analysis of progress and the look back. I am, like I said, the amount of positions that have been added over the last 3 years, and through addition, but also reallocation, I really think prepared the district pre-pandemic to survive a pandemic. And, whether that's the content specialists at the elementary level, the curriculum coordinators at the secondary level, having an HR person, I don't know that we would have been able to survive. And so I want to take time to analyze what we've done, celebrate that, and then solicit feedback. We've done this at the leadership team level with the World Cafe model that I have alluded to in the past. We're going to do this again with the leadership team in December to synthesize it and then push to other stakeholders. So that includes teachers, paras, staff, school committee, and then community members. And so what are the needs as we move forward? Because if you want to know your values, where are your resources being spent? And so when we head into the budget cycle, I want to make sure that our planning of the strategic plan is aligned through that process. The timeline, ideally, I would like to say that I'd have a plan to you by June. I think I will have something by June, given the COVID. Every day, there's a couple hours that drift off. I'm just trying to be very transparent. And I also, because I want it to be reflective of the real work that we're doing. So that's the goal, is June, but I will update the committee accordingly. During the 21-22 school year, my professional practice goal is to lead the Woburn Public Schools to support our district-wide commitment to equity for all students and staff. The Woburn Public Schools will continue to work to create a culture that reflects, respects, and embraces the voices, perspectives, and differences arising from our diverse community. Having just been at a few Veterans Day assemblies today and yesterday, the diversity at our elementary schools is awesome. But I want to make sure that our staff are reflected over time and that the students' voice and diverse perspectives are heard. So key actions that I will take and then we will take. Dr. Kristen Rodriguez is a former Woburn resident, former Woburn parent, former superintendent in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and she started a Commonwealth consulting company that we've started working with. That was intentional because of her knowledge of Woburn and the unique needs and the unique community that Woburn is. So one of the outcomes of working with Dr. Rodriguez is an equity-based needs assessment. The other way to say it is an equity audit. And so that's in progress. We've submitted documentation to a third party, Katie Novak. For those of you, Dr. Katie Novak is working with us on this equity-based needs assessment that we will share with you in the near future. Coaching support to guide us through this work. So again, through Dr. Rodriguez's group. Dr. Kenanne McKenzie is working with us and worked with our leadership team at the retreat. We have a meeting with her next November 17th, next week. She is now, she was at the Aspire Institute at Boston University, but is now at Tufts University as the head of GLAD, which stands for Generating Listening and Dialogue. Generous listening and dialogue. And so Dr. McKenzie is also a school committee member in the city of Beverly, and so wears many hats well and understands really what we're trying to do here in the city of Woburn. Professional development for the leadership team, so I just alluded to Dr. McKenzie coming on the 17th, and then we have 7 other times set aside with her to kind of guide some of these conversations to happen. As you may know or recall, the SEAM, we have a partnership with the SEAM Collaborative for a diversity, equity, inclusion coach with 5 other districts. Miss India Barros has been hired in that capacity. She came, we were, I think, smart enough to ask if she was available on election day before the other 5 districts did. And so she came and ran 3 sessions for our staff during election day, and we are working with her to figure out how best to utilize her skills. It's a challenging job for her to kind of figure out, it's a brand new role, how to figure out the needs of 6 districts. So more to follow. There's a book study being led by Ms. Young, Equity by Design, that I'm part of. There's learning walks that we're going through now. As it relates to equity, I'm losing people. All the mics are. So
It's not riveting.
yes, I'll go faster. The MASS I applied for and was accepted to. I'm one of 10 superintendents to be part of this leading and learning about race. So I'm very proud of that. That requires about 20 hours of work with the MASS group. It's a pilot this year, and our curriculum has been in the process of revision to reflect the cultural diversity. And lastly, the student learning goal, so I don't lose anyone else. This goes back to the dashboard that you saw previously. We know that there's learning loss, and how can we best meet that need? The additional support staff that we've just talked even tonight, but the interventionists to support our students, the EL staff. We think about last summer as a success. The question is, what are we going to do about this summer as well? And there's an element of planning that needs to happen there. That learner profile that I just alluded to, our WIN block is up and running, grades K-6 with great success. And we've implemented Dr. Orkin and the dyslexia guidance into our structures throughout the school day. So hopefully those will have a positive impact on student achievement. And I am done.
Wow, okay, so
Make a motion to approve the superintendent's goals.
I wanted to just clarify to the public that the superintendent's goals are what the school committee will assess and evaluate at the end of the school year. So that's why it's so important that the school committee review these goals. So, and I'm sorry, Dr. Wells, you had a motion?
Yep, I make a motion that we approve the superintendent's goals for the coming year.
And we have a second. Any discussion on that motion?
What's that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent work. I think it's very thorough. And
Thank you.
look forward to hearing updates.
It's a good one.
Me too.
You're already making progress.
Right.
Once you solve the COVID goal.
Yeah, no, honestly, that'll be the best.
I just think it's quite evident what this school superintendent's priority is when you look at the goals and how, what he sees as important. So it's very refreshing, and we're very proud of you.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to, nope, we have an LPAC update. We heard from CPAC earlier tonight, and I did send a little note to Dr. Baldessari, I think, asking for a similar update on the English Language Parent Advisory Committee, which is also known as LPAC.
I saw that it was on the agenda and it kind of went by, and I closed it out of my screen, so just bear with me.
Oh, no, of course.
1 second, and I will bring it up.
Do finance?
Yeah.
Do you need my tech help?
No.
Do we want to do finance, keep it moving?
I've been on,
Yeah, you
I've
want
been
to
on
do
call.
I know you've been wanting.
I could also read the minutes from the meeting, if that's helpful.
Oh, no.
They're very brief, thank you very much. It's in 4 languages. We are not there all day.
So, OPAC convened on November 1st at 6:30 p.m. via Zoom. We had approximately 30 attendees, the number of orders of business. We were proud to introduce Nellie Allange. She's Miss Mendez-Sheldon's new Family and Community Engagement Liaison Assistant. She began work on November 1st, and she's already in action. Just waiting to get her cell phone, which will take about a week, but right now she and Adriana have been sharing a cell phone, which has not been easy, but they're making it work. In accordance with our ESSER 3 grant funding, we performed our ESSER 3 consultation with the LPEC. We certainly asked for their input, and we also gave them contact information should they decide to ask questions or submit anything thereafter. Ms. Lachulis from the Malcolm White Elementary School was present to talk to our EL families with regard to COVID testing, PCR tests, and we had some technological woes with connection with Catherine. We were fortunate to have Ms. Cormier there, who is very well versed in all questions medical and COVID. So we were able to get through all of the questions about test and stay, close contacts, and so on. As you're already aware, Ms. Milto and Julie Cotton were present to talk to the LPAC about CPAC, and we have since been in some conversations about to collaborate on that in the future. We had Bob and Olga were there from St. Vincent de Paul. They're a nonprofit organization here in Woburn that's been here for 4 decades, and they talked about rent and oil and electricity help and a lot of the services that they provide for families. We informed our families that our free adult ESL classes will be beginning soon. We're just waiting for Ms. Johnson to put in the personnel to do that. And finally, as you're not aware, when we do those calls, we do those Zooms, we have translation for our families in Portuguese and Spanish and Haitian Creole. And certainly the advent of Language Line has been a big deal in our district. Last month alone, we used Language Line for just under 1,000 minutes. And the frequency and duration of use is now picking up as faculty and staff have access to this service. We've had nothing but glowing reviews of it. We are going to make it available, for when needed for our CPAC parents, and also some other community partners that are communicating with Woburn families about Woburn school business. So it's been a real help, and it's certainly improving communication with our EL parents and community.
Thank you, Dr. Baldessari. Any questions about LPAC update? Thank you. And Ms. Cormier, I'm sorry, your minutes are very thorough.
Those were my minutes.
So, that's the only reason why.
I know, we're here long enough.
Sorry, next time it could be you. Finance, Mrs. Chisholm.
Yes, we did meet a joint meeting with finance and personnel on November 1st at 4 o'clock here at the Joyce Middle School. In attendance was Superintendent Dr. Matt Crowley, Assistant Superintendents Dr. Mike Baldessari, Bob Milconata, Patty McKinnon, Erin Johnson, School Committee members Dr. John Wells, Colin Cormier, Andrew Lipset, Michael Mulrennan, Chair of Personnel, and myself. The meeting was called as a combined meeting to address the financial cost as well as additional personnel that we needed due to a large increase in our student population at the Malcolm White 5th grade and the Goodyear Elementary School and the total EL population citywide. At the Malcolm White, there was an increase in 5th grade population at the start of the school year. The class sizes were 22. Presently, the two classes were 26 and 27. Though this did not exceed the teacher contract, whoever needs the students to put a burden on the class, the principal had requested the two classes be split into 3, starting the Monday after Thanksgiving break, which is 11/29/21. There is presently a long-term sub in the building who is certified and would be taking over that classroom for a 1-year term. The cost of this will come from our subline in our budget. Questions that were asked, Dr. Wells asked if the classroom space was available. We found that there is a classroom space at the school. Dr. Wells asked about which line item would that salary come from, and he found that it would come from the subline and the Title III grant. And I just asked that the mayor and city council be informed that there's a new position added after our budget, but they will be absorbed within the cost of our present budget. Seems to be my claim to fame here. The need of an additional para is needed at the Reeves for EL students, which now totals 58 students. This will be paid from our Title III grant. The para will cross over all class levels. We provided with elementary school increases data from Eric Johnson, which bears some attention. The number of students entering into our schools with little to no English language has been significantly increasing. This year has been the largest influx of EL students. The Goodyear Elementary School had the number of EL students go from 319 on August 31st to 400 on 11/1, 81 new students in 2 months. These numbers support the need for EL para to help with the influx of new students arriving in Woburn. And from 2015 to 2021, we have seen this grow at an average of 15.1%. So some schools averaging 21 to 23% growth, and we adjourned 435.
Thank you, Mrs. Chisholm.
Madam Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the addition of 1 elementary teacher and 1 paraprofessional.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion on that motion?
Madam Chairman, on the motion, just so.
Of course,
clear
Dr.
to
Wells.
The audience, we're not spending money like it's going out of staff, but we are in a unique situation where we do have money that the federal government has provided for COVID because of the issues that we've been talking about. So there is money available for these positions at this time.
Thank you, Dr. Wells, and Mrs. Chisholm's minutes do reflect that justification. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes. Okay. Curriculum and data trends, Mr. Lipset.
Yes, we met yesterday, November 9th at 4 o'clock p.m. at the Joyce. In attendance were Ms. Kendra Stinson, Ms. Diana Vester, Mr. Thomas Quayle, Ms. Young, Dr. Baldessari, Dr. Crowley, school committee members Dr. Wells, Mr. Kissel, and myself. Ms. Ivester and Ms. Stinson presented to the subcommittee on a proposed change to the middle school health curriculum centered on sexuality education. The committee was shown data from a variety of sources, including the Youth Risk Behavioral Survey, that demonstrated a need for better and more comprehensive sexual education at the middle school level, similar to what we have implemented at the high school. Ms. Ivester and Ms. Stinson also presented data that suggests our high school curriculum, and that is what we currently use there is the Rights, Respect, Responsibility curriculum, with 3 Rs, which is a free open source curriculum that's recommended by DESE, has had a positive effect on our students at the high school level. This curriculum meets all national standards for health and sexuality education and meets state standards with emphasis on healthy relationships, establishing boundaries, and normalizing sexual identity differences. And the curriculum also prioritizes two-way communication to provide students with safe space for questions and for understanding. Administration's proposal is that the Rights, Respect, and Responsibility curriculum be incorporated into the middle school health curriculum. Ms. Ivester and Ms. Stinson also demonstrated the use of identical or similar curricula in use in a number of surrounding communities. Some questions. Dr. Wells asked the administration to look into ways to assess the curriculum's effectiveness moving forward. How are we going to make sure that this curriculum is doing what we intended to do? Mr. Kissel asked about parental input, and in terms of both Woburn and state policy, both require that we send a letter home, including information on what will be taught, and there is an option for parents to opt out of this portion of the health curriculum. Mr. Kissel also asked what students would receive instead, and Ms. Young replied that they would get other work related to health curriculum in a smaller setting, but not related to this particular portion of the curriculum. Is that correct?
Yes, they'll receive health curriculum topics outside during that time.
Okay, thank you. And I asked regarding both Mr. Quayle, Ms. Young, and the presenters about other ways that students can be supported in the building. And there are several systems already in place that allow for students to seek help as needed in areas of crisis and other issues. And so Dr. Wells made the motion to recommend the curriculum change to the full committee, and it passed unanimously. So I would like to make a motion that the committee approve the shift to middle school health curriculum as proposed by the administration.
Second.
On the motion?
Yes, Mrs. Chisholm.
Since I don't have a copy of actually what that's going to involve, and I know that there's some parents that are concerned about changes that we do to this, can we make this part of like an agenda item that maybe we could get the copy of what actually is being taught so that people can be informed? Because we know that if things are being sent home, how would they be sent home? Because we know how middle school kids do not make things from their backpack to the kitchen table. So I just don't want something to change and parents be upset that they were not informed, or, you know, because it is a very touchy subject out there lately. So we just, I mean, if we can make this part of just an agenda item for the next meeting, that would be great. Just so give people a chance if they want to voice in or just be informed, that would be great.
Okay. When do they want to do this? When do they want to do this?
Okay, any further, we have a motion, all right. Any further discussion on the motion? No, okay, all in favor? Oh, I'm sorry,
So
Mrs.
would
Chisholm.
this go forward without that agenda? I would like to see if we can just postpone that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, Mrs.
Just because
Chisholm.
I don't
I
want to
thought,
approve something that all of a sudden say, no, we're addressing it. We have to
I
take it back.
apologize. I
Okay.
thought you were saying that maybe you would approve it, but yet you wanted to see a copy of it, but you want to table the vote.
Right.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve.
Madam Chairman,
Then,
you know, we were told about the, you know, we didn't review every section of the curriculum. I don't, you know, I'm not sure.
well,
exactly.
Mrs. Chisholm is just
I have-
asking
I know,
to
but I'm
table it.
concerned.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I wanted to, you know, we didn't look through the whole curriculum, so I don't know what we want to present to the full committee. We had an overview of the curriculum.
Yes.
Is that what they want? Is that what
Yeah,
Ms. Chisholm
I
wants?
mean, if something that's going to be addressed, maybe this
Okay.
could be.
Mrs. Chisholm wants parents the opportunity to comment on it before we
Right.
adopt it.
Right,
Is
I
that
want
right?
to make
That
sure we
doesn't-
have the information for the meeting, so it'll be
Yes.
the overview presentation that we got at our committee.
Okay,
subcommittee meeting.
so we have a motion to approve.
I have on the motion.
It sounds like Mrs. Chisholm's going to vote no. So do you have something on the motion?
On the motion as well. What was the time frame? It sounded like they wanted to.
I think that there was, you know, they brought the information forward at the beginning of the year because students kind of have health on a rotating schedule through the middle school. And so they were looking that if they were going to implement it through this year, that, you know, the sooner that they did it. But it certainly wouldn't start until we finish this process.
Because we're not meeting again in November, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, no.
Correct.
We're not meeting. So the next one would be the 14th of December.
How does the committee
vote,
feel
I'm
about
saying. I just
tabling
don't
it
want
till
it to be-
December?
Well, Madam Chairman, the objection might be is the, how is the information going to be conveyed to the parents? Because if parents have the option to opt out, then I don't see what the problem is, but I think what Mrs. Chisholm is saying is that she's not sure that the opt-out will get to the parents.
It is our school committee policy to mail a letter to the parents.
Okay.
And that they do have the opportunity to not only opt out, but also ask their individual questions about the curriculum as well. So they can have individual correspondence with a member of our health team about the actual instruction before they make their informed decision. And the letter does get sent home via mail, and I would assume electronically is easy to do as well.
I wonder if that answers Mrs. Chisholm's question.
Well, could I just get it sent to me, like exactly what this is, probably like a little semblance of the whole thing, because I just, this concern, that I've heard from parents that are concerned about it, so I just would like to make sure that we
And
know what we're talking about before we vote on it.
Sure. And the curriculum, because it is an open educational resource, you can see it at any time.
Okay.
Yep, and you can access it just by online.
But if the parents have an option to opt out,
Right.
then, there should, if a parent's, concerned about it, then they just they can look into it and opt out. It's not like we're mandating it for the parents,
Right,
so.
but as long as it's going to be sent to the parents,
Yeah.
like I was concerned it was
Right.
going to be given to
Yes.
the kids, and we know, those of us that
Yes.
have had middle school kids, it disappears.
Yes.
That's a
So-
legitimate
And I will say
concern.
too, as a parent, you can access and see the entire curriculum online.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe we could vote on it with
Okay.
that clarification.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
That it gets mailed home.
so Mr. Lipset voted to approve because it was sent off to pass to us, right?
Yeah.
But Mrs. Chisholm indicated that she wanted to table it, but then clarified that parents will have information prior
To its start.
to its starting.
Absolutely.
So in that piece,
Yeah. And
they do
can
not
opt
have,
out.
it's not going to be thrust upon them.
Right.
Oh,
They're going to have time to
Decide whether
consider.
it's appropriate for
Yes.
their children.
And that's not
Yes.
only our school committee policy, that's also legislation that
Yeah.
requires us to notify parents.
And so public comment on December 14th could include parents that have received this letter.
Right.
Which is what Mrs. Chisholm was trying to protect,
Okay.
okay? So, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. And I just wanted to remind the public that they are always invited to public comment on anything that is in front of the school committee at all. Okay, that was great. Personnel, Mr. Mulrennan?
Yes, Madam Chair, the same meeting that Ms. Chisholm had for finance personnel had two items that we also want to bring forward to the full body. First item that she addressed, we will also address at this time, just basically a motion to approve the long-term sub as indicated by finance, so that's my motion.
I think we already did it.
We did.
I know, this is just personnel-wise, I think, so we can,
I think we,
we'll skip that
I'm going to
one.
vote again.
And the other one was just to allow the administration to fill the para at the Goodyear, so finance is taking care of that. So it doesn't involve personnel because it involves money.
Right.
When it comes personnel.
Yeah.
You can use the same minutes Pat did.
Is that Jeannie, whatever she said?
Ditto.
It'd be weird if it was different.
Same meeting. Same items. Malcolm Moore, motion approved. And that was,
Just written with the left hand.
Thank you, Mr. Mulrennan, and Paul.
Listen.
Policy, so yeah,
9 o'clock happens.
for the last, I don't know, couple of meetings, you've had plenty of time, and we had discussion opportunity. And it's been on the table for, I believe, at least 30 days. So, long story short, I make a motion that we take all the policies presented over that period of time off the table, and, I make that motion?
Second.
Okay, those policies are off the table,
All in
Mr.
favor?
Kissel.
Aye.
Any discussion on the matter?
I'm sorry?
No, I said all in favor.
Getting ahead of you.
And I just hubbled in response.
I rang a bell and started drooling.
Give her.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so I
Policies are off the table.
now make a motion to adopt the policies as that, the few that have been adjusted, and there's a slight verbiage, and presented and have them added to our policy manual.
Second.
Okay, and I have a motion to approve those policies which were published 2 agendas ago by the school committee. So those are the policies, and really contain only verbiage changes.
Some.
Some do, that's right. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes.
So-
Okay.
And then the removal? Is that a separate vote? And reaffirmation?
Which one was the removal?
Removal was,
Oh, the sheet, yeah. We had removal, so I got reaffirmation, tech update. So we had the removal of policy, you guys have the information, or am I reading it, all the acronyms?
No,
Remove GBGAA, which is the HIV/AIDS policy for employees. IKEBB, promotion and retention of students at the middle school, which is already covered by district-wide policy. IKE. JLCCA, also an AIDS policy. JLCCA-E, also an AIDS policy. School attendance policy. Make a motion to remove those.
Second.
Okay, motion on the table to remove those policies from the manual as they are antiquated. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Reaffirmation, the BG School Committee Policy Development, BGB Policy Adoption, may revisit 30-day tabling. BGC Policy Revision and Review. Okay. Oh, wow, someone said it's reaffirmation one, so yeah. All right, but I guess we're done.
Okay. Do you have a motion?
No, he said we did them.
Oh, okay.
So,
Didn't we react from one already?
when? In the first vote?
I don't think
Yeah, I
so.
thought we
Let's do it. BGC, BGD.
I mean, it was the updating, but I don't know if it's just,
BGE and BGF, suspension of policies, policy dissemination, school committee review of procedures, I'm jumping around, policy revision and review, and policy adoption. I have a motion to reaffirm those.
second.
Okay, any discussion on that motion? All in favor? Aye.
Also
Motion
doing the tech
passes.
update, or no?
That should be that policy should be recommended to approve, but also to replace IJMD and INJDB.
All right,
So moved.
what he said.
Second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes.
All right,
That's all.
Yeah.
good.
Okay, great work. Excellent,
for-
excellent
That's
job.
not bad for
We
dyslexia,
only
huh?
have
All those letters?
290 to go.
Good job. Next meeting.
Okay,
Pretty good with my
Resources?
dyslexia, huh?
Yeah.
We're waiting for the work on the
Feasibility.
plan.
Feasibility study.
okay.
The plan to look at all our buildings.
Thank you, Dr.
And
Wells.
as soon as they have the information for the bid, then they'll have to call a meeting of that committee.
Thank you.
Today,
Student Services and Achievement? We have not met, but I will be scheduling a meeting for the items brought up by CPAC.
Awesome.
Thank you. Future agenda items?
Oh, no. Yeah.
No, okay. I don't have any correspondence. Oh.
Real quick.
Yes, no, it's okay, Mr. Kissel.
Dean Solomon, who's a member of the Woburn Chamber of Commerce, is
Yeah.
retiring from the social concern.
Oh,
So just having that been said, I'm not sure the interaction overall with the school, obviously it's the community thing. So two things, I think it might be appropriate as a school system, we send them a thank you, congratulations on your retirement kind of letter.
Okay.
And then the new director, which is Sean Cassidy, is taking over. Maybe at some point, no rush, maybe before budget, have him in just to say hello and introduce himself, since we're talking food issues all night.
thank you, Mr. Kissel. That's a great idea. Sean Cassidy, got it.
Madam Chairman, another correspondence, I guess we've ended our relationship with the National Guard and as bus drivers, but we should take this time to thank them, thank the governor, thank the Commonwealth for filling in, and thank all the National Guard people. They sign up and they do a lot of things throughout the Commonwealth, and I'm not sure they thought they were going to be driving buses, but
You can do that tomorrow.
Thank you, Dr.
But it was
Wells.
very important for
Yes, thank you. And Mr. Mulrennan?
One quick matter, Madam Chair. We have future agenda items. I believe our next meeting is scheduled, I know all this occurred to me, but it's scheduled for Tuesday, December 14th. I do have a conflict that evening.
Sure.
I know we can reschedule for the 15th. Someone recalls why we made it the 14th, or didn't
what
come
day
out
of the
with-
week is it?
That's the second
Tuesday, the
Tuesday. That was
14th. I'd like
just
to make
scheduled
it
like that.
The 15th, Wednesday at 7, or whatever.
Can anyone do the 15th?
We have teachers at 3.
Yep.
Okay,
Oh, I can't do the 15th.
okay. How about the 13th?
I'm out of
That
town.
doesn't like Mondays, though.
I can't do the 13th either.
I will do
Okay.
Tuesday.
Are you sure, Mike?
Is a conflict volleyball or something, or?
Just work.
Oh, yeah, but you're
That's
cool.
his
Do you wanna-
last day, it's his last day or
You
something.
should cry
Do you wanna-
I'm already having a Marine Corps birthday, but, you know.
Just leave
I'll-
early.
I'll-
It's not
I'll
like fire's
figure it
going to
out.
happen. Do you want to Zoom? A remote
Then tell them they
meeting?
can come here and give you the
I'll bring a
retirement
fire
cake.
truck out front. I have to leave, Yeah.
So we're keeping it.
I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mulrennan, for that. Okay. Well, we'll keep it on, so our meeting remains on the 14th.
Thank you.
Um,
7? No.
7.
Oh,
At 7,
sorry.
yeah. All right, I didn't receive any correspondence, but if I did, and I don't remember, I apologize, and I'll read it the next meeting, but I don't think I got any. Did any, no, all right. And,
Madam Chair, I did receive one correspondence, I forgot, sorry.
That's
About
okay.
the before-school program, and maybe at the next meeting, or we can have an update at the Wyman Herald, if there's any progress or anything like that. Doesn't sound like it is.
I can answer now.
Yeah, okay.
We've been trying to hire, we can't hire people.
Okay. Got it.
thank you. And so we do have executive session tonight. There is a pending matter of, we need strategy in the purpose of collective bargaining and/or strategy in the purpose of litigation. And our attorney, Attorney Colby C. Brunt, is here to consult with the school committee. Our attorney, Sean O'Keefe.
Motion to go to executive session for the purpose
Second.
indicated by the chairperson.
Second. Any discussion on that motion? All in favor, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Chisholm?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
Yes.
Mr. Lipset?
Yes.
Mr. Kissel?
Yes.
Mr. Mulrennan?
Yes.
Dr. Wells?
Yes.
Ms. Crowley?
Yes. So we will now go into executive session.